Okay, so 8.1, we are splitting 8.1 into several sections, at least 3, well, 2 or 3. We're going to be focusing just on the Pythagorean theorem. All last week we went over solving square roots because you were going to need to. So the Pythagorean theorem says if ABC is a right triangle, so if we know it's a right triangle, then C squared equals A squared plus B squared. That is the Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem comes into play in a lot of things. It comes out that it's the equation of a circle, it's the distance formula, it's a lot of things. Okay? A and B are legs. The legs make what angle when they meet?
90.
A 90-degree angle. It really doesn't matter which leg is A and which leg is B. It does not matter. But C is the, what did we call it before? Hypotenuse. C is the hypotenuse, and it is across from the right angle. Does it matter which one C is? Yes. C is also the longest side. C is the longest side because it is across from the biggest angle. 90 degrees is the biggest angle in a right triangle, correct? Yes, because the other two angles have to add up to 90 degrees as well. So it is important to remember that 90 degree, the hypotenuse is the longest side across from the right angle. Again, does it matter A and B, which one's A, which one's B? No. So we're not going to really want C squared. We're going to want to know just what C is. Well, how do I undo a square root? I just give you the answer. How do I undo a squared? A square root. So C would equal the square root of A squared plus B squared. So that's all well and good if I'm finding the hypotenuse, correct? But what if I'm finding one of the legs? So if I'm finding one of the legs and I start with C squared equals A squared plus B squared,
You work backwards.
how do I move one of them over?
Just move it.
Subtract it. Thank you, Henry. So A squared would equal C squared minus B squared. What would B squared equal?
D square root of C squared and A squared.
Well, it'd be C squared minus A squared. And what do I need to take of both of them?
Square root.
The square root. So A would equal the square root of C squared minus B squared.
Did you just flip it?
And B would equal the square root of C squared minus A squared.
Why is A the equal
So would A
sign that
squared
time, but
equal?
when you scoot it over, it's B.
Because here's one problem, here's another problem. I'm doing two different problems. Now, really quick, when I take the square root of something, it's really plus or minus, correct? We've talked about that before. But when we're doing lengths, can you have a negative length?
No.
No. So on these, it's always positive. If you get into trig, then you'll have the positive and negative and have to deal with those. Or algebra 2, you have to deal with both of them.
Trig sucks.
So, again, does it matter which one is A and which one is B? No. So, right here, we're finding legs in these two. And here we're finding the what? The hypotenuse. So the converse, remember that's backwards. So the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem says if it is a right triangle, c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So now we got to flip that. So if c squared equals a squared plus b squared, then it is a what kind of triangle?
A right triangle.
A right triangle. So we can, if we know it's a right triangle, we can solve for missing parts. But if we're checking if it's a right triangle, we can do the c squared equals a squared plus b squared to see if it's a right triangle, if the right angle isn't marked. All right, can you see the green okay? I just thought about that.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I just need
No, better?
maybe not the green.
Not the green. Okay. I just thought about that. Okay, do you have everything so far on your paper?
Yeah.
Okay, I will switch to blue.
I mainly just put some emojis in it.
Okay. So now it says find the missing parts. So are these right triangles?
Yes.
Yes. How do I know?
Because there's a right angle.
Because there's a right angle. There's a box there, right? So we're going to use c squared equals a squared plus b squared. Are we finding a leg or the hypotenuse?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. We're finding a cross. So write your c there. And from the top, c equals, what's my formula?
12 squared.
Nope, I want the formula. The
B
square
squared.
root of
B squared and A squared plus A squared.
a squared plus b squared. Now, last class period, somebody tried to add before they square. Can I add before I square?
No.
No, I have to follow order of operations, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so does it matter A and B which one's which?
Nope.
Nope. So we have 12 squared plus 15 squared. This is why I'm pushing you to know your squares and cubes, because if you don't know them, you're going to do a lot of multiplying in these problems, aren't you? Okay, what is 12 squared?
144.
144. What is 15 squared?
225.
225. And now I add them together. If you're going to leave out a step, you would leave out that one right there. Everything else you should do. And I would advise you to write the formula today till you know it. Okay, so if I add, you guys add, I'll add, we better get the same number, right? I get 369. What do you guys get?
369.
Okay. So we spent all last week simplifying these, so we are ready for the big show. We're ready. Okay, so 4, 9, 16, 25, that's my hope to find, right? Okay, so if I add them all up, I get 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 9 is 18. Does 9 go into 18?
Yes.
So 9 goes into the whole thing, doesn't it?
Yep.
Okay, so I have the square root of 9 times the square root of 9 goes into 36 how many times?
4.
9 goes into 9 how many times? 1. Okay, 41, can I break that down any further?
Yes.
No. So C equals square root of 9 is 3 square root of 41. Makes sense how this works? Hopefully. Okay, B. What am I looking for? Leg of the hypotenuse?
Leg.
A leg. So that formula was, we're just going to write one of them. A squared equals what? The square root of?
B squared.
Nope.
C squared.
C squared.
Does it matter what order?
Yep. Okay, now I'm going to stop before we fill anything in. The first one we did was C, and we did A plus B. Does it matter on A plus B which order?
Nope.
Nope, because it's addition. A, or leg, equals the hypotenuse minus the other leg. Does it matter which order?
Yes.
Why?
Because you could
Because
get
it's
negative.
it's subtraction. So does it matter?
Yes.
Yes. The bigger number has to be subtracted by the smaller. Okay, so what is C? 10. So 10 squared minus 7 squared So the square root of 100 minus 49. So A equals square root of 51. So 1 plus 5 is 6, yes?
Yeah.
So just 3 go into 6?
Yeah.
So 3 goes into the whole thing. Okay, 3 is not a perfect square, but I know 3 goes into it, right?
Yep.
So 3 goes into 5 how many times?
Once.
Once.
2 left over.
With 2 left over.
7.
So 7. So 3 or 7 have any perfect squares? Or anything in common? Nope. So A equals the square root of what? 51. Okay, on the bottom, is this a right triangle? Well, my converse says right here, if c squared equals a squared plus b squared, then it's a right triangle, right?
Yep.
So guess what I'm going to do? C squared equals a squared plus b squared. How do I know which one is c?
The longest side.
The longest one. So which one's longest?
37.
37 squared equals 35 squared plus 12 squared. Now, we are going to have to calculate out 37 and 35. So, you guys on the right, you get 35. You guys get 37. Samantha, you're on that side.
Oh, come on.
Okay, let's go. 37, 35. Multiply it out.
37.
Yep, you guys got 37. Multiply it out.
Can you use a calculator?
No.
We got 37, you said?
Yep, 37 squared.
Yeah, that takes it. What do you guys get?
Something that's probably not right. I'm gonna do it one time. I didn't have enough space for
I
it.
got 1,334.
What?
No, I got 1,369.
I don't get 50.
2, 1.
I get 59.
I got 1,369.
See, I got. I had
Yeah,
one
for 20
Okay.
or for 37.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I got
And I got 1,225 for 35. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what do I do with those?
Sure.
Plug it in here, right?
How did you get
What'd you get?
multiplied?
1,359.
Well, 5 plus 1 is 6.
Yeah, but how'd you get 49?
49 carry a 4. 21 plus 4 is 25.
Oh, and that's the square.
Okay, so I have 1,369 equals 1,225 plus what? 144. So 4 and 5 is 9. 2 and 4 is 6. 1 and 2 is... So, do they equal?
Yeah.
So, is it a right triangle?
Yes.
Yes? And the right angle is where?
M. Well, M.
At M, right? Across from that longest side. Questions? Okay, next page. All we have is a bunch of examples. You're going to do some with me, some on your own, and then when we're all done with that, you go to your worksheet.
Wait, so we're not doing all of these?
No. No. I told you over several days. Okay, so find the missing side. How are we going to find the missing side? What are we using?
C squared equals B
What
squared
is it?
plus A squared.
What is it?
I don't know.
Pythagorean theorem.
The Pythagorean theorem. Thank you.
Yeah.
You need to know what it's called. Okay, so we're finding a leg or the hypotenuse?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse. So C equals what? What's my formula? A squared plus B squared. Now, do I have to write it out as 6 squared, or can I just do 36?
36.
Okay. So it'd be 36 plus what?
81.
81. So they have the square root of
36.
what?
Oh, 117. You're adding, aren't you?
Yeah.
You gotta add it first.
I get 117.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, 1 plus 1 plus 7 is what?
9.
9. So 9's a perfect square, so we need to keep going, right?
3.
So the square root of 9. 9 goes into 11. How much?
1's with 4 left over.
With
3.
2.
3, 2.
2.
Same thing.
And 9 goes into 27 how many times?
3.
3. So does 13 have a perfect square in it?
No.
Nope. So C equals what?
3.
Square root of 13.
3 square root of 13. Is it finally clicking for us, guys?
No.
Hopefully.
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Okay. So on 2. Go ahead.
Oh.
Okay, is 2 a leg or a hypotenuse?
leg.
A leg. So I always call it a leg A just because. Okay, so A equals the square root of what?
C squared minus B squared.
Okay, so if you wrote what I did on problem 1 and what I did on problem 2, do I have every formula I would need to do the whole rest of the worksheet?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so C squared is what?
5.
Nope, C squared.
29.
25. Now, the next one I'm going to write out because we need to think about this. We have the square root of 10 squared.
It'd be 10.
It would be 10. When you square a square root, you get exactly what's inside every time. So I get the square root of 25 minus 10.
So 15.
So the square root of 15 and the square root of 15, can I do anything with that?
No, square root of 15.
So x for the A, right, is square root of 15. Questions on 1 and 2? Are we going too fast? Okay, 3, leg or hypotenuse?
Leg.
Hypotenuse. No leg.
Leg. So x equals the square root of c squared. Well, c is parentheses 2 square root of 3. And we'll do that off to the side in a second. Squared minus the square root of 5 squared, right? So the square root of 5 squared is what?
5.
5. Okay, we're good there. But we need to figure out this over here. So I'm going to write it off to the side and remind you of some rules.
Is it 7?
No. Okay, so this square has to go to the 2 and the square root. And then multiply my answers. So 2 squared is what?
4.
4. And the square root of 3 squared is
3.
3. So 4 times 3 is
12.
12. So 12 minus 5
Yeah. You don't need.
7.
is the square root of 7. Do we need to do anything with the square root of 7?
Nope.
No. Okay, leg or hypotenuse?
Leg.
Hypotenuse. It's across from the right angle. So c squared, or c equals the square root of square root of 14 squared plus the square root of 6 squared. I'm just plugging it right into the formula, aren't I? Okay, when I square the square root of 14, I get what?
14.
14. When I square the square root of 6, I get
6.
6. So I get the square root of,
20.
what can I do with 20?
4.
4.
Square root of 4 and the square root of
5.
5. So that's what?
2.
Oh yeah,
2
you
and square root of 5.
It's 2 square root of 5. Now, I want you guys to do 5 and 6. You get 5 done, move to 6. I will start them so you can check your work. Did anybody need those two anymore? Shaylee, you done with those two? Okay. Remember, your formulas are at the top. I would write them today until you know them really well. Can I start now? You guys good? You're not even paying attention to me. Good job. I don't want you to.
Done.
With both?
Oh no, not those. I got that for the first one.
Okay, do the second one now. Good job, Cooper.
Let's check the time.
You guys could be fixing your squares and cubes while you're waiting. You could be seeing if you could figure out the bottom ones while you're waiting.
Oh, mine are right. We're still looking at the yellow part.
Okay, how did 5 and 6 go?
Amazing. I got
Amazing?
6 wrong. I mean, right.
I got both of them right.
Mason, how'd you do back there?
Negative 6 because it's square root.
I just looked up there to find what I did with the square root. And then I-
Okay, now 20 is the square root of 4 and the square root of 5, right? What's the square root of 4? 2. Okay, Mason,
What?
how'd it go? It went? Do you see where you messed up?
Sure.
Mason,
What? Who am I thinking of?
what are you doing to help your educational process right now? Shaylee, how'd it go?
He's thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, don't shrug at me. Good or bad? Medium? Okay. Right? Did you get 5 right?
I don't even know. 2 square root of
5's right here. 2 square 6.
I got square root of 6.
What?
I didn't get the 2, but I got the 6.
Do you got the square root of 24 there?
No, I did that. And mother did that.
Okay, do you got 49 minus 25?
It was
49 minus 25 should be where you.
The 7 squared minus 5 squared.
You have 7 squared
Oh,
minus.
I forgot that's what I forgot to do. I added this.
Okay, can't add. You gotta subtract them, right? Shaylee, did you get 5 right? Okay, did you get 6 right? Well, then don't tell me. Okay, so what's the difference on 7, 8, 9, 10?
There is no triangle.
There's no triangle. Should it matter?
No.
Nope. It tells me C is the hypotenuse, and what's it want me to do?
Find the missing side.
Find the missing side. So I have A and B, so I'm looking for what?
See?
C.
That's like words.
So C is going to equal, we're just going to set these up, and then I'm going to let you simplify them on your own. So C is my addition one, correct?
Nope.
Okay. So it's going to be the square root of, what's 9 squared?
81.
81
49.
plus 49.
Yup.
Okay, we'll come back. You guys can come back. We're on 8.
130.
Aim over it.
What are we looking for?
130.
The leg.
B, the leg. So when I'm looking for a leg, I subtract from the hypotenuse, yes? Which one's the hypotenuse? C. So 13 squared is what?
Oh.
122.
169 minus
122.
122. Okay, you'll come back. Don't finish it. Let's keep going. Okay, A or B on 9? Or A, B, or C?
See.
C. So we're going to do what? Add or subtract? Add. See how I'm trying to get you to remember? So A squared is what?
5.
5. And B squared is 10. So,
15.
okay, square root of 15. That one's done, right? Okay, A, B, or C?
B. I mean A.
A. Oh, we need to put our units. Don't forget your units on those. Okay, so we're going to add or subtract to find a leg.
Subtract.
Subtract. Look at your formulas. Okay, so the square root of
257.
257
And 40.
minus
49.
49. So do those real quick. Simplify those 3 real quick.
Does anything go into 47?
No.
What goes into 208?
The only one you have to simplify is 10, isn't it?
I get 108.
How do you get 108? Isn't 257 minus
Oh.
49 108?
I got 208.
Yeah, it's 2.
Oh, it is 208. Let me go try to do that again if I can subtract right now. Thank you, Henry, for finding my mistake.
See me right down the
Found
bottom.
another mistake.
You found another one?
Yeah,
What?
you giving me this worksheet.
That was a pretty good mistake.
That's not a good mistake. It's a bad mistake.
Okay, so if it's 208, 4 goes into it, right?
Yeah.
That sounds silly.
So 208, 4, and 52,
Oh,
and 4 and 13. So it's 4 squared root of 13. Does that sound better?
yeah, I get it. Done.
Okay, so your homework is this worksheet, and it is due tomorrow. We are moving on tomorrow.